What's important to you? My mission is to ask as many people as possible this question, because I believe once you know what's important, you can design and build a life of purpose, meaning, and fulfillment. My name is James Dean. I'm a life coach, and I hope this podcast inspires you to uncover what's important to you. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at James Dean Coaching, or connect with me on LinkedIn. You can also learn how I can help you understand what's important at jamesdeancoaching.com. Today's guest was born in Romania and has called Ireland home since 2015. She describes herself as a human being and a mother first. She is a certified Integrative Nutrition Health Coach and chose to train with the Institute for Integrative Nutrition because they have over 30 years of experience in training health coaches around the world. She started her journey of natural and holistic therapies promoting probiotics as a very successful medical representative for one of the biggest pharmaceutical companies in the world. Funny enough, this is when she discovered that there is actually a connection between taking probiotics and migraines. And just like that, her passion about how body, mind, soul actually works was flared up. And she is still very much on that amazing journey. After more than a decade of working in the private and public health systems, she decided to merge her passion of studying the human body, anatomy, and physiology with her own gift of empathy and kindness, and dedicate herself to helping women to heal their own bodies and emotions through nutrition and mindfulness. She uses bio-individuality as the foundation of her work because she believes that as a coach, you can only help your clients if you meet them where they are on their journey. She dedicates her work to support busy and overwhelmed women to move from a state of surviving and procrastinating to thrive with a fulfilled and happy life in a happy body. Today, we find out what's important to Smaranda Maier. Hi Smaranda, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hello, how are you? Thank you for having me.
I'm delighted you're joining me. So yeah, I'm really good. So we're going to get straight into it, and I'm going to ask you, Smaranda, what's important to you?
Thanks again for having me, James, and it's a pleasure to share with you few things today. So what is important for me is to be authentic and to be beyond all the pressure, the external pressure, to be yourself and to feel free to be yourself.
Interesting. That's a really interesting one. I like the way you say authentic and yourself. So what does that mean to you then, to be yourself or to be authentic?
I think I'm coming from a culture where for years and years, I'm Romanian, and I'm coming from a culture where you were so under pressure on doing the right thing, and that right thing was dictated, and you were not allowed to be really yourself and to speak up your own voice and have your own opinion. And I think that's coming with me through the years. So just to feel free to be yourself and to acknowledge your own needs as a human being and to show up for yourself, it's terribly important for me, at least. But I think it should be for every human being, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's an interesting, obviously, it's a very different perspective to come from, in a sense of, because I speak to a lot of people, and a lot of people have said, oh, to be myself. But it's an interesting and, a perspective that not many of us maybe can appreciate, in a sense of where you said it, that literally having that who you are dictated to you, as you say. So would you be able to share a little bit more on that? Because I think it's something that people, won't have had that experience And I think it'd be very powerful if you were to share that in a sense of the before and after, if you know what I mean.
Yes. So, for example, I was 10 years of age when the revolution for switching from communism to democracy in Romania took place.
Mm,
So, by that time, as we all know, I was formed as a little girl, and all the limiting beliefs went through, and they were already internalized in my brain. And okay, everything changed around, and we were able to have choices. Like we didn't really have choices. And when you have a choice to choose for, I don't know, better food, or to have bananas instead of local apples and something like that, uh, you don't realize back, like when you are 10, definitely you are just excited that you have more toys or more colorful clothes. Then this is coming with you. And then when you have that, the church, even for me, to be able to go to the church and not be afraid was a way, like a huge thing, because
mm,
I came from a family where faith and going to the church was a form of was important, was
mm.
was part of the existence, and we couldn't do that um, freely. Like we had to
Yeah.
hide when we had to do that.
Wow.
Okay, so for me to have that freedom and not being afraid, and because you had so many years, like I only had 10, but was important 10, I was always looking, like, who is looking, who is watching, uh, can I be myself, do I have to please someone, uh, and this came with me through the years. So I became an adult realizing that I married someone who I was told to. I ended up crying for years and not being happy, literally for years. I'm not exaggerating at all, being so unhappy. And that's because someone else said that you have to do that. And I decided when I was 33, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. I just want to show up for myself and be whoever I feel I am. A huge shock to the system.
Mm,
Like
yeah.
everyone was, I divorced actually from all the limiting beliefs and from the conditioning, uh, family and church and everyone else, and the freedom what I sensed since that was my waking up start, like my wake up call really, and then the that was the main thing. Like I gained myself.
Mm. I could actually even just, and obviously I'm watching you, people will just be hearing, but when you the talking about sort of your past, and then as soon as you started to talking about your now and your sort of that change at 33, your voice literally just changed. Your tone of your voice changed. You started, your face changed in the sense of you smiling. So you can actually feel in you in a sense of when you took, you know what, now is the time. I am doing this for me. You said there though it was quite a shock to take that. Tell me a bit more. It's quite an interesting word to use. Tell me what you mean by a shock.
No, first of all, I was literally I became the black sheep of the family. I was asked to leave the church because I didn't follow so I think like here in the very beginning in the Catholic church, I was in Orthodox church, and uh, that was the punishment. Like you stepped out of the rules. And it was hard and was harsh. I ended up being on my own, but I knew this is what I want to do it. So I always felt I'm not on my own. Someone there is hearing me, is seeing me, and I will get that. Of course, it's not once off thing. Like I
Mm,
still have recognized the old pattern in my daily choices or in business, when sometimes it's very hard to say no, or to respect my values and say no to a contract which I did recently and still stays with me, if that makes sense.
yeah.
Because I did choose to make the choice to follow my own values and to make the choice following my own ethics, but it is uncomfortable, still uncomfortable. The difference is I'm able to see that and I'm able to comfort myself. But it's lifelong process. It's not once off.
Yeah, no, that's a really, a really, as you say, powerful thing to acknowledge for yourself, and then powerful thing for everyone to hear. So I'm interested then in a sense of, from that moment, then you said from that time, well, actually, you know what, I'm doing this for myself now, and I'm making these choices. What was that then path? How did that path then transform to finally where you are now in the sense of what you're doing for yourself? How did you navigate that path since the age of 33?
I think there was a lot of ups and downs. So of course I changed the country, and I think this helped in a very beneficial way. So I tried to stay there and to deal with all the changes and to adjust myself. And I realized that I can't. I can't. And I choose to leave the place and to start fresh. Now, of course, it was extremely hard. If you are thinking that I came in Ireland 7 years ago with €120 in my pocket, leaving my son back with his father, and it was very challenging that way. But when I'm looking now in the back, uh, I was extremely brave, and I think we don't give ourselves enough credit. I literally forget myself how tough was, and I was able to do it. Of course, it wasn't easy. It was absolutely some days crazy, but I never gave up. I had that feeling that I'm doing the right thing, and I would, with all the prices, like how hard it was better than to be in an unhappy place.
Yeah, that is extremely powerful to say in a sense of, it can sense of the way I'm hearing it is it was what you were willing to go through to get what you wanted, which is essentially to be yourself.
Yes.
So what brought you to what you're doing now? So I haven't said, so tell me a bit more about what you're doing at the moment then, and where that plays a part in your life.
So what I'm doing now, it started actually after I came in Ireland. I had no English. Okay, so
Okay.
I am overqualified if you want, but I knew when I'm coming, I came having no English, very little, and probably more like when I was in corporation, I was using English kind of part in the emails sometimes, but nothing helpful for daily life and day by day life. So when I came here, I said, okay, you have two choices: to reach for higher positions, what probably you deserve and you are able to manage them, or to start from the start learning English, and then you will see where the things are going from there. I chose the second one, and of course it was a lot of self-work involved, because to be cleaner in a factory, when you knew how you have two masters, and it was hard to deal with, but in the same time I knew it's only for a short period of time, and that's going to bring me where I want to. My passion for natural health, it's obvious connected to my own health and to my own journey. I had few, I wouldn't say health issues, but health related episodes in my life. I had a miscarriage and I had a scoliosis fused, and I went through the health system, traditional health system, and I always looking for explanations and things to help me to understand what I'm going through. And I didn't find that functional, holistic approach anywhere. And I had questions they were very important for me, and I didn't get answers. And I said, that's impossible. I definitely am not the only one in the world what what is looking for answers in that matter. So I started to research myself, to do a lot of research. And of course, as I believe and I teach my clients, when you set an intention, the universe orchestrates answers. They are not coming when you want, they are coming when the universe knows it's the best to give you the answers. So everything was coming together. So I did a nutrition course, and I realized that the nutrition itself, like becoming a dietitian, is not for me, because I'm not a calorie in, calorie out type of person.
Yeah.
What I wanted to understand the holistic approach of health, and how food has its own role, but it's not only food, because you can eat all the kale in the world. If you have a broken relationship and you deal with a huge stress in life, that won't make any difference.
Yeah.
So it's simple as that. Like it's funny, but it's as simple as that. So I choose to do health coach training, and that gave me the qualification of starting to it, and it resonates with me so well, because I'm talking about, and women health is my strength, really, and what I'm dedicated to. And it's because I understand better the women body and the women emotions, and I know how important is the emotional healing, the emotional, because if you only heal the symptom, but you don't heal the cause, which is 100% of the time it's emotional, you can't get the results in long term. You get results in short term, but they won't last.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think what you're explaining, I completely agree with, in a sense. And I love the phrase there. All the kale in the world will not, solve the example you say, a relationship that's poor. Because the thing, as you say, everyone's looking for that. We can say people are looking for that one thing. Oh no, I found it. This is the magic. If I do this thing, whether eat this thing or do this particular exercise or do that, whether it's just meditation or trying to just find that, as opposed to thinking, well, as you say, the holistic approach. The other thing I was hearing there, and correct me if I'm wrong, but as you're explaining that sort of process, if you want to call it that, it very much sounds it's what you've gone through, in a sense of for yourself. So it very much you have, that sort of the empathy or affinity with the people that you're working with, because you have done that process yourself.
Yes, that's a huge part, because I'm an empathetic person, and yes, that's my gift. But I said I went through so rough experiences in my life, and if I was able to get where I am now and to be in peace with myself and to be able to, I know it sounds a bit rough, probably, not giving a shit about everything else and everyone else, just follow what I think is right for me and stick with it. If it's accessible for me, it's accessible for everyone else. I just want to bring that awareness that, okay, my dear ones, it is possible. And it takes work, 100%. It takes a conscious effort, but it is worth it.
Yeah, I love that, actually. And actually, considering as I said, so I've no experience of what you've gone through. I think saying you don't give a shit is actually quite calm. So you could say a lot worse, I'm sure. Um, I think what I love that what you said there, and I think it's really important for people to listen to as well. And it's interesting from my perspective, because a lot of people I've spoken to recently, the concept of putting things out to the universe and sort of like, and then coming back. But what the really important thing that I think you highlighted yourself there as well, though, is like, it's one thing to put out intentions, but you also have to put in the work as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. There is no such thing that you, and I don't like quick fixes, and I don't like magic solutions.
Yeah.
They're like, when something like this works, it's a short period of time. It's like, imagine a kettle. You plug the kettle. and okay, it boils for a while, but then you have to switch the button or keep it always plugged if you want to use it when you need it. So it's the same with ourselves. And it's funny enough, I just said that a week ago. I noticed that when I don't stick to my work and I miss for a day, for 2 days, for 3 days, uh, I don't feel immediately, because of course that the battery is charged and it lasts a few days. But I definitely, a week, that's me in my case, a week, 10 days, and then I feel, and where I feel like things what didn't bother me when I was charged and plugged and doing the work, they do bother me when I am low, and like, for example, the rain or the, I don't know, things, small things or big things. And the way how you react is actually telling me, okay, what is missing inside you? What triggers inside you?
Yeah, absolutely. No, you're right. And if you say if you're not aligned with yourself, those little irritants, you say the weather, or it could be when you're driving and someone, does something that's quite innocuous and you get really frustrated about it. Yeah, you're more triggered when you're not in that space. I want to. Go
Yeah,
on.
go
Yeah,
ahead.
go on. No, go ahead.
I just wanted to say something else. It's the difference what makes when someone is aware, and I'm talking all the time about myself first, is how long you stay in a state of reaction. Because we all react. It's part of our nature. And the difference is how long you stay. Because the longer you stay, the more addicted you get to that. And I think that's very important for people to understand. You are not a sinner, or you are not out of the grace when you react. It's absolutely normal. But how long it takes you to get back, that's the difference. That's where the difference is made.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things I ask now, because I think, again, just to kind of highlight in the sense of your story, and I think one of the things that's just reminding me is a sense of, you said earlier, was that when you first came to Ireland, and obviously you didn't have the English, and your sort of plan, and you said that you had two masters, but you because of your circumstances you worked as in the cleaning industry, and then build yourself up to where you are now to get that English first. Where has resilience played a part in your journey?
I'd never thought of myself about being resilient as resilient, but I'm looking now, and yes, I realized how big was the resilience and how it took time, but yes, I built resilience. Um, I think I was very motivated, and I had the belief that I will get there where I want to. I just need to do the work.
Mm.
Uh, and I always felt that I am here for a reason, and I felt that Ireland was for me like where I belonged. I don't know, it's strange, but that's how I felt. I felt more comfortable and more myself here than in my own place, like in my own country.
Yeah, that's a really interesting thing, because again, I moved to Ireland in 2005. So again, so I'm not from Ireland, and so I've been here 17 years. And again, I feel like I wouldn't go anywhere else. It's a very,
Yeah.
it does, you do, it's the term, I don't, if you've come across the term, the blow-in, yes, have you heard that term? So
Not yet.
so it's the whole thing of, like, if you're not from the town as such that
Okay.
you're kind of blow-in, but it's kind of in some ways like
Mm.
it's not meant in a sort of a derogatory way. It's just a case of, like, well, if your father's fathers or mothers, if you haven't had 4 generations or 5 generations from the town, you could
Yeah.
have been living there for 40 years, you're still a blow-in. But it's you say that level of acceptance is a very it's just there, you say you're not having to look for it, from
Yes.
my perspective anyway.
Exactly. And I had, before I started the coaching business or the coaching work, I had baking from home during the COVID. And the support what I got from the local community was unbelievable. Like, I can't stress enough. And I always said when I have the occasion to say, I'm so grateful for that. And 99% of my clients were Irish. So I felt that sense of belonging in Ireland, and I think that was very important. And I consider myself very lucky because it happened. That
Yeah. So just picking up on that, actually, when you say that word, uh, grateful, in the sense of obviously for people in the sense of that specific moment you said there during the pandemic. But where does, I suppose, now gratitude play role in your life now?
it's huge. I started probably 2 years ago, and I don't finish I don't end any day, or I don't start any day without. If I didn't do it in the morning, I definitely do it in the evening before I'm going to bed. Find at least one reason for being grateful, but not for just thinking, okay, I can breathe, and okay, that I'm grateful for that. Having that joy, like, and that's something that you can educate and work on, because it won't come naturally. Naturally, we probably are complaining and seeing the negative things in our lives, but sensing that joy, that, I don't know, your son is healthy, in my case, or um, you really manage not to be okay, like to have roof above your head, or to have food, or the electricity was not disconnected because you were able to pay the uh, re- give yourself that sense of, with all your body and mind and soul, you feel grateful for something. It doesn't have to be it they don't have to be I don't know, 5 reasons. Find one reason. I don't know, your partner was great today, your son was, your pet
Yeah.
was, yeah, funny, or whatever, and that releases endorphins. I call those micro moments of happiness, and I educated my mind to look for them. And it's always so, I don't know, it's unbelievable healthy, and makes such a difference when you have one of these moments in the day among a lot of negative things. And then you kind of train your mind to make reference to those moments. And when you are down, you really find that like an anchor.
Yeah, and I think that also, and absolutely, I completely agree in the sense of the practicing of gratitude. But what you saying that to me as well, again, to me just highlights the importance that you're talking about in the sense of that holistic approach as well. It's, as you say, it's not just the food or one thing, and obviously gratitude is one of many things that you could do to
Exactly.
improve your whole health. Um, what I do like to ask people when they join me on the podcast is, are there any particular quotes or phrases or things that you say that have relevance or importance to you?
I don't have any particular one. I have probably few.
Yeah,
Um, I can't pick one. I
yeah.
tried to, and it's like it are too many things, are too many persons who impacted my life and my journey, and yeah, it's hard to pick only one.
But you can share a few. You don't have to just pick one. I'd be interested in any of them. You don't have to put them in any sort of top priority. Anything that you find that's powerful to you.
I don't know if was definitely. I don't have any quote in my mind, but it comes to me the idea of reparenting, which was a decisive one for me, like a very big one. Uh, Learning how to give myself that care what I didn't receive as a child due
Hey.
to whatever
Yeah.
circumstances. And I use that in my work, and I use that in my life, and I think that's very important.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there any, and you said that there's no particular one sort of person as such that may have influenced you, but are there any people that you, whether it be in the public eye or other people within your industry that you know, that have influenced you, or you've taken something on board from other people that you now use?
Yes, I have two very well-known people who are actually Nicole Lepera, the holistic psychologist, is one, and her book is like my Bible, How to Do the Work. I'm sure that you came across with it. And the other one is Dr. Daniel Amen, because I'm passionate about brain health.
Okay. And what specifically, or is there anything that you've taken that you think that have really stood out to you from either of those people?
So from a holistic psychologist, that was where I heard first about the reparenting and
Okay.
how doing the work and how to do the work and how to do to stick with to stay on the pathway. It doesn't matter if today you are moving or you are only stay and look in the right direction, but
Yeah.
just be there and show up for yourself. And from Daniel Amen was the micro moment of happiness, which I think it's very important to educate your brain in that way.
Absolutely. They're really, I kind of heard the sort of the idea of the micro happiness, but I didn't know it'd come from there. So I definitely will check both of those people out in further detail. Um, Now, in the sense of you're working for yourself, obviously you setting up your business. What were the I suppose what was the drive, should I say, initially to then go try and do this for yourself?
I was always a person who kind of every time when I had a job, I was working. I saw the job like my own business type of thing.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know where it's coming from. I just that's me naturally, but I realized that I'm working for someone else's dream, and I
Mm,
put a lot of effort and energy in it, and at some point I got disappointed because obvious that's the way how it happens, and I said no. I think it's the time for I got gain enough experience, and it's time for me to do something for myself and to
mm.
follow my own dream.
Yeah. No, absolutely. No, I love that
And
because it is so true.
I
Yeah. Go ahead.
transformed a negative experience and something that was painful at that stage in something positive, and I turned it around. And yeah.
Yeah. To follow on to that, where does the people that you want to work with, and you said specifically in relation, you know, you definitely have more of a with women's health. Where does the people you work with, where does the importance of them play in your life? The people that you try to help.
It's very funny, interesting that you are asking that, because I had a client yesterday, and at the end of the day, I usually after I'm meeting a client, at the end of the day, I send an email or a message, kind of feedback from the. Doesn't matter if it's the first session or the session, whatever, the fifth session, and
Yeah.
I yesterday the client messaged me saying that she was very impacted by our chat, and she started to implement few changes, and these were actually my words. I was impacted myself because I am learning, and sometimes I hear what I'm saying and what I'm teaching, and is speaking to myself as well. So it's huge for me.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Um, and I think that's the thing from, because obviously sharing in a sense of in that space from a coaching perspective is that, and I think you said this earlier as well when you're doing it, it's the continual. You've not got to a point to go, well, that's it. I'm now the coach. don't need to do any more work on myself. It's constant. So as you're working with people, or as you say, you're looking at other people's work, you're constantly working on yourself at the same time.
And I always have my own coach.
Yeah.
That's very important, to have someone to back you up, and to have someone who, if it's not my coach, I am lucky enough to have a partner who I share with, and we are talking. So you have to get yourself balanced, and that's part of getting balanced.
Absolutely. Miranda, it's been fascinating to talk to you. I've really enjoyed listening to your story and to where you've got to, and I hope obviously it continues. I have one more question for you, and that is, what's important for your future?
I think the most important thing is to realize that to be in perfect balance is not the destination, it's a journey. And if I feel like I didn't do 100% today, I have another chance in the next second or in the next morning. And just to stick with my own values, and making sure that I bring value to the world.
No, I love that. As I say, it's been wonderful to talk to you, and I really have enjoyed hearing your story. I think it's really powerful, and it's definitely it's making me smile just hearing it. And
Thank you so much.
I really
That's
wish you the
very
best. We will, of course, all of your details will be shared in the show notes. But if you would like to give a shout out now of where people can follow you and connect with you online, go ahead and share your details.
Yeah, so my website is holistichealthhub.org, and I am usually very active on Instagram. So again, Holistic Health Hub on Instagram. So this is where people can find me, and I do work online and offline. And if someone is looking for support, especially women, I am here.
Perfect stuff. Thank you so much for that. As I said, all of those links will be shared in the notes as well. So once again, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me, James. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to What's Important to You. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, and share. And make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Again, you can follow me at James Dean Coaching on Facebook and Instagram. Connect with me on LinkedIn, or find out more about me on jamesdeancoaching.com.